You know that feeling? You read about someone really successful, maybe in business or, I don't know, academics,
Hmm.
and you think, okay, that's the blueprint. I just need to do exactly what they did.
Right. Follow their steps precisely.
Yeah, you try their habits, their schedule, but it just feels wrong, like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
That feeling, that sense that it's not quite clicking, that's actually really important.
Okay.
Because today, we're diving into why just copying the path someone else took to success can be, well, surprisingly ineffective. It might even hold you back.
Exactly. We've been looking into this, and there's some fascinating stuff that breaks down why that copy-paste method often falls flat.
Yeah, it really highlights why someone else's magic formula probably won't work the same way for you.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to kind of give you a better framework.
Equip you, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
equip you to look at advice critically, learn from others, sure, but chart your own course without falling into those common traps.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, one of the first big points, something we sort of know, right? But maybe forget sometimes,
Go on.
is that everyone's circumstances are just totally unique. What worked for person A depended hugely on their specific environment, the timing, their skills, even their personality.
Absolutely fundamental. Your circumstances are just inherently different.
Can you give an example of that? Like how different?
Sure. Think about maybe a tech founder who launched something right when the market needed it.
Okay, perfect timing.
Exactly. And maybe they had some early funding or the right connections. Their strategy worked then in that context.
Right.
But if you try that exact same strategy now, maybe the market's changed, there are big competitors, you don't have that same cash.
It's just not going to land the same way.
Probably not. Your starting point,
Yeah.
your resources, the hurdles you face, they're all yours, unique to you.
Okay, that makes sense. And that connects to another really key idea, doesn't it? Survivorship bias.
Oh, definitely. Survivorship bias.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit academic, but it massively impacts the advice we actually hear.
Explain that a bit more. How does it work?
Well, the thing is, we mostly hear from the people who succeeded, right?
The ones who made it, they write the books, give the talks.
Precisely. But what about all the other people? The ones who tried similar things, maybe worked just as hard, but didn't reach that same peak.
We don't hear their stories nearly as often.
Exactly. They're kind of invisible in the standard success narrative.
Oh.
So the advice pool is skewed.
Skewed towards the winners. It makes their strategies look like the only way or the guaranteed way.
That's the danger. It's like studying history by only reading accounts from the soldiers who survived the battle. You get a distorted picture.
You don't see the strategies that didn't work or the role luck played for the survivors.
Right. So the question for you becomes, how much of that famous success was really down to their specific actions? And how much was maybe, other factors we just don't see in the stories of those who didn't quite make it?
That's a good point. And even when we do hear from successful people, there's another potential issue, how they remember things.
This hindsight bias. And what our sources call misremembered causation. Misremembered causation, okay. It's about how looking back changes our perception. Once you're successful, it's easy to construct this neat, logical story.
Like, I did A, then B, which obviously led to C, my success.
Exactly. You connect the dots looking backwards. But maybe at the time, the path wasn't so clear. Maybe B wasn't obviously the cause of C.
So they might overemphasize, say, a certain morning routine they had back then?
Or a book they read, yeah. And they might unconsciously downplay other things. Maybe a lucky break, a key mentor they met later, a sudden market shift that helped them out.
It wasn't necessarily the one thing they think it was or the one thing they emphasize now.
It's often much more complex.
Yeah.
Which, leads nicely into the next point.
Which is?
The role of luck. Or
Yeah.
chance.
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
you want to call it.
Yes. The right place, right time factor. We like to focus on hard work, but luck,
Mm-hmm.
it matters, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, hard work is crucial, obviously. No substitute for that.
Sure.
But timing, bumping into the right person, stumbling onto an unexpected opportunity, these things can make a huge difference.
So a brilliant idea might fail if the timing's wrong.
Or a less amazing product might take off because of a market trend or a lucky partnership. You can copy someone's work ethic down to the minute.
But you can't copy their luck.
You can't guarantee the same external factors will line up for you. It's just part of the equation.
Okay. And then there's the type of advice we often get. Sometimes it's, well, a bit fuzzy.
You mean the really general stuff?
Yeah, like never give up or believe in yourself.
Right. Which, can be motivating. It feels good to hear.
Totally. Get you pumped up for a minute.
But when you're actually stuck, facing a specific problem, what does never give up mean? Does it mean keep banging your head against the same wall?
Or does it mean find a different way? Pivot. Ask for help.
Exactly. That general advice doesn't give you the how. It lacks practical, actionable steps for your specific situation.
Okay, so these are some big reasons why just copying doesn't work. Our source material had some good examples, right?
Yeah, really concrete ones. Let's take the first one, the e-commerce entrepreneur.
Okay, what's the story there?
So the advice is something like, I quit my job, worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, built my online store, and boom, made a fortune.
Sounds like the classic hustle culture narrative.
It does. Now, imagine a young person hears this. They're inspired. They think, okay, that's the plan.
So they quit their job, dive in, start working crazy hours.
Right. But maybe
Yeah.
they don't have the savings the first person had, no financial cushion.
Oh.
Maybe they don't have the same network. Or maybe the product they picked isn't actually in demand right now.
So they're following the work hard part, but missing other crucial pieces.
Exactly. And the potential outcome.
Wasted time, lost money, probably
Yeah.
feeling pretty discouraged, maybe even broke.
For sure. The mistake wasn't the ambition. It was assuming that doing the exact same actions would magically yield the same result without factoring in their own very different starting point.
So how should that young person use that entrepreneur's story then, if not copying it?
It's about filtering. Learn from the experience, yes. What were the underlying principles?
Okay.
But then ask, what parts of this could work for me, given my money situation, my skills, my
Maybe
markets?
start smaller, test the waters.
Absolutely. Experiment. Get data. Don't just quit your job based on someone else's highlight reel. Understand your own risk tolerance, your own resources.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. What was the second example? Something about academics.
Oh, yeah, the high-achieving student. The advice might be, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, study for 4 hours straight, minimal socializing. That's how I ace everything.
The super disciplined approach.
Right. Now, another student hears this and thinks, okay, got to do that.
So they set their alarm for 5 a.m.
Drag themselves out of bed. Try to study for hours.
Uh-huh.
Cut back on seeing friends.
How does that typically go?
Well, maybe they just get really tired, sleep deprived. Maybe they feel isolated and miserable.
Yeah.
And maybe that long, intense block of studying just doesn't work for their brain. Perhaps they learn better with shorter bursts or by discussing things with others.
So instead of getting better grades, their concentration tanks.
Could happen. They might get stressed, bored, and just give up on the whole plan, feeling like a failure.
When the real issue was just trying to copy a method that didn't fit them.
Exactly. It's about imitating the method without understanding your own learning style, your own body clock, your own need for balance.
So what's the alternative for that student?
Self-discovery, really. Experimenting. Try different study techniques, flashcards, mind maps, teaching it to someone else.
Figure out when you focus best. Maybe it's not 5 a.m.
Maybe it's 10 p.m. Or maybe it's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Find a rhythm that includes rest and, yeah, some social life.
Yeah.
It's about building a sustainable plan that works for you.
Right. It sounds like the big takeaway weaving through all of this is, well, it's okay to be inspired, but don't just Xerox someone else's life.
Pretty much. Successful people share their stories, their perspectives,
Yeah.
and that's valuable. But you have to be the architect of your own plan.
Yeah, you need a plan that actually fits you.
Absolutely. So just to recap quickly, we talked about why blind copying often fails,
Different circumstances.
survivorship bias, only hearing from the winners,
Memories getting fuzzy, that hindsight bias thing,
the big roll of luck.
and advice that's just too vague to be useful.
Right. All reasons to be cautious.
So for you listening, the idea is feel empowered, right? Learn from others, definitely, but always run it through your own filter.
Your unique situation, your values, your skills, what's actually realistic for you right now. That's the critical lens.
Filter, don't just follow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe here's a final thought that you want. Maybe the most valuable thing you can learn from a successful person isn't what they did. Maybe it's how they figured out themselves, their strengths, their context, how they found their way.
So looking at their process of self-discovery, not just the final outcome or the steps they list.
Precisely. Now, thinking about it that way, how does that change how you look at the next piece of success advice you come across?